Today I have this door and there needs to be trim around this door, but this is not just your ordinary little door. It's got a lot of problems, like this switch is in the way. The trim is 4 inches wide and that's not even 4 inches away there. So I'm gonna have to cut around that light plate. I've got tile, stick-on tile, sheetrock here, so 2 different heights. I've got this countertop. This countertop's in the way. You can see right here. And this side's been sheetrocked. I've also got a piece of trim down there that needs to be cut. That's gonna be in the way. So I've got all that. And then I've got this side. I've all this dust down here, you can see. I've been cutting away the shims. So you can use a box blade or an osculating tool to cut those shims. I used a Sawzall to cut all this wood that was sticking out into this area. You want this smooth over here. And right here you can see, I cut away all this wood to make it straight, okay? And right here is an example of where it's not cut. You can see the wood sticking out right here. My trim is not gonna go, well, first off, there's not 4 inches over here. So it's too narrow, plus just everything, there's a lot of problems here. So I'm gonna show you how, and you can see there's a little gap above the door. These shims are gonna have to be cut at the top. I've got it sheetrocked at the top as well and on the right side, but there's no room for sheetrocking over here. But I still have to trim this out. So here, let's just tell the guy we can do it, but we're gonna have to charge him $400 extra because I really don't want to do that. What do you think about that? Let's just tell him that. Let's just tell him that.
We'll like that. Yeah, we'll like that.
Oh, he's standing right here behind. Hey, sir. Hey, sir, we'll do it for $1. Okay, what I did was I cut this trim and I put a 1x3 instead of a 1x4 on this side. Ran it up. Basically, if this vanity wasn't here, I would have ran it up all the way along this door. And I did a straight cut at the top. And I did another straight cut at the top here. Also 1x3. Okay, straight cuts. And if this would have been a normal side, I would have done another 1x3 straight cut all the way down. But instead, I had this shower area, and this is just a straight cut 2x4. And we saw that there was that big gap. All I did was apply a 1x4 onto that 2x4. And then there was still yet a little space from this 1x4 to the doorway right here. So I put this little piece of wood. It's just a small piece of trim board that I got at Lowe's in the trim aisle. And it was cheap, just a few dollars. And I put that on there and I angled it to make it look cool right here. I also angled this top 1x4, which is the one that this is nailed to, you see. So I angled both of those the same way. And I angled this little board right here as well. And I like that my shower rod, it sits in there on this 1x3 ledge that's on top of this 2x4. See, these are straight cuts too, going around my tub. Also, my crown molding is straight cut 2x4s. And I've got the pipe rack towel holder, pipe rack toilet paper holder, and all my exposed plumbing underneath. And then of course I have all my straight cut vanity, all 2x6s. This was under $20 for me to make this whole vanity top. I have videos on all this. Peel and stick backsplash, 1x4 straight cuts, 2x2 straight cuts. You can see pre-drilled holes into my 2x4s. And those are just 2x2s with 1x4s on top of those. All straight cuts. I'm just giving you examples. I set my mirror directly onto this little shelf and screwed that in and have a little shelf just like, kind of like over here. I have for my towel holder coming straight out of there. Little plug back there. You can see how I did all this and my electrical and such. But right here, I did caulking and I did an angle cut right here. And an angle cut right here, and I put caulking in right here because there was little gaps that I couldn't fill. So right there you go. I just did simple, cheap caulking. And this is what it would look like sitting back. So even though that's just caulking right there, because the wood was too thin for me to put a piece of trim all the way down because of the vanity, that caulking does just fine and it looks great. I have space clearing because this is a 1x3 for my switch. And you can see my peel and stick backsplash right there. I was able to just run my trim right over that without it being much of a pain. All straight cuts. And I've got no air flowing through here. All straight cuts. This is just a 2x4 and a 1x2 right here for my baseboards. And then I have my doorway frame with straight cut 1x4.